Blessings and welcome to Eartheart Radio. Finally beginning to awaken from the illusion of separateness and broadcasting live from the KSKQ studios in beautiful Ashland, Oregon. Here's your host, Derek Moody.
Good afternoon. I know the live streaming was down last week, at least for some of you. So if you missed the show last week, you know it's always easy to find on the Eartheart Radio Show YouTube channel. Yeah, it's a nonprofit, non-monetized channel, and we do archive just about every one of the shows there. So that's a place you can visit if you do indeed miss any episode of Eartheart Radio. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters, and thanks for tuning in to KSKQ Radio. And, of course, the Eartheart Radio Show. It's interesting to watch people beginning to turn more inward, to reflect more on a bigger picture, to stop the monkey mind from the endless running and shopping and consuming and losing touch with more important connections, making new reflections, looking into the mirror of life. Our journey is endless. Pain and suffering equal purification and the understanding of ultimate compassion in the big picture. When we think of death, we sit up straight. We are all connected. My friends, for the next hour, relax, let your lungs breathe deep, live for this moment. May the love and compassion of the saints bless your heart. May your life be free of suffering. May you be happy. We'll bring some positive news and harmonious music today, and I'll spotlight a blessed saint. But I'm happy to play a new documentary today for you. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. My guest today will be comedian Dustin Wood, and this new short documentary was released about Dustin Wood and his life. It's pretty short. It's titled Be Here Now, so that really caught my attention, of course, and I enjoyed it so much that I thought I'd give Dustin Wood a call today, and we'll chat with him after the documentary. It is called Be Here Now on the Eartheart Radio Show and KSKQ, with a quick shout out to our syndicated family over at KBOG Radio, which is located over in Bandon, Oregon. We are syndicated, and they do play the show on Saturday nights over in Bandon. And following Eartheart Radio, they have the Church of Rock, which is my other radio show. So I guess in Bandon on Saturday nights, we've got like a 3-hour chunk of radio. That's kind of fun to know. Right now, enjoy. It's called Be Here Now, stand-up comedian documentary featuring Dustin Wood at Eartheart Radio and KSKQ.
Be here now. These are 3 words that have shaped and molded my life the last 6 years. You know, positive thinking brings positive results. But things weren't always so positive, and I learned that in order to really appreciate the light, you gotta go through the dark. Yeah, I was a weird kid, you know. I was always trying to make people laugh and making jokes and just kind of goofing around. I was definitely, you know, the class clown. My first introduction into comedy in my life was actually through my dad. You know, my dad was a professional bull rider, was in the Navy. Like, we didn't have a lot in common. Like, I didn't inherit his athletics, but I do honestly believe I inherited his sense of humor, because legitimately one of the funniest guys I've ever met in my life. Still makes me laugh to this day. I wanted to do comedy so bad, I would make these, like, insane videos to put online. And I just did it to kind of, like, scratch that comedy itch. Because I honestly thought, like, the only way you could be a stand-up comedian was to live in Los Angeles or New York. And I was so far away from both of those that I just felt like being a comedian was an unattainable goal, you know? So eventually, you know, I kind of talked myself out of loving it, and comedy kind of fell to the wayside. When I started professional wrestling, I thought this was it. This is going to be the thing that kind of replaces that love of comedy that I had. But then the rug was pulled out from under me. I was wrestling, it was going great, and then I got hurt. I didn't know what to do, you know, I was lost. I had no clue what my next step was supposed to be. So I figured, you know, until I can figure out what to do next, I'm gonna go back to school. And that's where I discovered acting. I remember thinking, like, almost instantly, like, okay, wow, this is a lot closer to comedy than anything else I've done, you know? So I just threw myself into it 100%. I was lucky because I got to do, like, short films and stage plays and commercials and training videos and stuff like that. It was easily, like, the most fun and rewarding 2 years of my life. I remember I got to be a part of this play where the director, he just gave me free rein to improvise. And every night, you know, I was making people laugh. It was really eye-opening, you know, and it was cool for me because at that point I thought, you know, this is the closest I'm ever going to feel to living out that dream of being a stand-up comedian. Just as I was hitting my stride with acting and everything was going perfect, you know, my life was like, oh, you're doing great? Well, here's 3 incredibly traumatic things that happened to you back to back to back because fuck you. The first was my rare condition I was born with. It kicked into overdrive, spread to my gums, started losing my teeth. They were all just like, peace, I'm out of here. And then after I lost my teeth, just all the acting gigs, you know, dried up. And then I lost my mom to cancer. She passed away, and it sucked because she was so supportive and she wanted me to pursue stand-up comedy so badly. She was always so positive about everything, you know. She would constantly reassure me that my condition didn't define me and that I was here for a reason, that, you know, that I was meant to be. The last one was one of my best friends in the whole world, Nicholas Legelic. He passed away, and Nick was always a big supporter in anything I did, but he always wanted me to do comedy. He's always pushing me to do it. And Nick had a bunch of sayings, you know, always keep practicing your craft, all that stuff. But one he would always say to me is, like, a lot of people know this, Nick was like a prodigy pianist. He was so good on the piano. And he would always say, if you have it, don't waste it. And he was talking about talent. If you have an innate talent, never waste it. After Nick's funeral, I was at my lowest, the most negative I've ever been. You know, I just couldn't see a bright side. But I kept hearing Nick's, like, words in my head. You know, if you have it, don't waste it. Just over and over and over again. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. I was so done with the negativity. Since I was diagnosed to date, I've been told a lot, you're lucky to be alive. Luck to me is this family I have. You know, my brothers, my sisters, my mom, my dad, my nieces and nephews, all my friends, you know, comedians that I get to work with that I admire so much and respect, like, deeply. I'm lucky to have stuffed pickles, which is the best of both worlds, comics I like, and my best friends. Those are the real reasons I feel like I'm lucky to be alive, you know?
There's something I've always wanted to do, and I've never done it, and I've been practicing, and I've been writing stuff out, and it's something I really, really want to do soon, is stand-up comedy.
They didn't have a green room, and so the guy just put me in the janitor's closet. I'm in the green room, I'm like about to throw. Like, I'm never doing this again. I'm just gonna get through it. So I go out and I do my first joke, and I did it, and there was this weird beat of silence, and then laughter. It was like a wave of laughter.
It had to settle for a second.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, I'm doing this every fucking day. I mean, as corny as it sounds, I knew right then, like, this is it. This is why I'm here. I'm here to make people laugh. I have a ritual before every performance. I'll get to the venue early when nobody's there. Think about my set. I'll go on stage. I like to go on stage and just look out at all the seats, you know? And I like to think about all the people that sacrificed to get me where I'm at today. People that bought shirts, that bought tickets, that supported me. And that's when I think about everything and I go, you know what? I am lucky to be alive.
But then I figured out the reason they follow me
surrounding me. It's not cause I'm a rap god. I don't need you people to bow to me. All they ever did was doubt me. Now everyone's proud of me. Acknowledge me and not you ain't ignoring the following. I'm just teaching them something they couldn't learn in their colleges. This is for the kids feeling like they live at the bottom, and every day of their lives feel like it's darker than Halloween. Yeah, you ain't alone out there. Look around you, we got a lot of fans in here. Couple 100,000, that's what we did last year. Listen to intro 3, trying to kill my fare. They'll get that in a minute. We about to shatter the critics. I am a savage, admit it. A lot of baggage I live in, that's why the passion is different. Really don't care if they get it. We're only 3 records in it, and this is just the beginning. I'm home. I'm home. I'm home. I'm home. I'm home. Real music. Real music. Real music. Real music.
Gratitude is our attitude. Thanks for tuning in to Eartheart Radio on KSKQ.
The law of truth and love. I can see that in the midst of death, life persists. I can see that in the midst of darkness, light persists. I can see that in the midst of untruth, truth persists. An unbroken line of prophets and sages in all countries and climes. God is life, truth, light. He is love. He is the supreme good. God, to be God, must rule the heart and transform it. The law of truth and love.
What a beautiful song, man. It's Gandhi, the actual voice of Gandhi right there, a band called 1000 Ways, and the track is called Gandhi. I hope you enjoyed the little documentary that I played for you, which is called Be Here Now. You are at the Eartheart Radio Show and KSKQ Radio, and we're going to chat with the subject of that documentary now. Joining me on the phones in this stay-at-home environment, it is the one and only Dustin Wood. How's it going, brother?
It's going great, man. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Where are you residing at right now?
Right now, I am in Weed, California.
Oh, you're locked down in weed.
Yeah, I know, which is maybe I may be having the worst quarantine of anybody because I was already stuck in a town that's quarantined from the rest of America, from stores and restaurants, and I've been social distancing since I was a kid living here. So,
are you from Weed, California originally?
Yeah, so I was born in Red Bluff, but we moved to Weed just almost instantly. So technically I was born in Red Bluff. I'm from Red Bluff, but I'm from Weed. Right now, there's a big kind of feud going on who gets the sign that says "Home of Dustin Wood." Neither of them want it. I'm willing to pay for any town, but both of them aren't budging. They don't care.
That's hilarious, man. And for those of you tuned in from outside of Southern Oregon or Northern California, yes, there is a town called Weed, California, and they even have a store where you can buy little cute T-shirts and coffee mugs that say, "Hey, I love weed," and things like that.
Yeah, it's actually kind of like the top selling thing in town. Like the most thriving business is, we have one grocery store, we have 3 souvenir shops. So if that's an indication of what's making the money here in town, it's definitely that. The biggest thing is I just performed in Vegas a couple months ago at the Stratosphere for a young Catholic boy that had never left Siskiyou County. Walking into Vegas, I knew the first 5 minutes, I was like, yep, I am entirely too Catholic for this place. But people were so excited when they found out I was from Weed, because they think it's like a town from a Cheech and Chong movie.
Oh my
so
God.
They get so excited and ask about, is it really high in weed? And I feel really bad. I have to tell them the truth that Weed, California is not known for marijuana. We're known for other things I don't know, teen pregnancy. We're not known for any of the cool stuff. So it felt bad having to let them down, tell them it's not a weed utopia that you think it is.
Yeah, I'm sure you get one corny joke after another.
Either that or my last name being Wood. Everybody's got a joke they want to tell me.
Oh man, it never ends.
Never.
So how long have you been a comedian now?
So I've been doing this now just a little over 6 years. In fact, you were at one of my first performances in Oregon ever, I believe.
That's right. I actually met you just actually about 100 feet away from where I'm sitting right now, I think. And you were actually quite good. And I got your number intending to book you on my other radio show, but I couldn't really figure out a spot for a comedian on this rock show. But this show, Eartheart radio show, I was like, this is perfect. Perfect for a lot.
I'm excited, man.
It's a medium for so many different things, and I would like to ask you how the documentary came about.
So the details on the company that made it, I can't officially give out right now because we're working on some big things that we're going to be bringing to Oregon, hopefully by the end of the summer or the beginning of fall this coming up year. It's a media group that got a hold of me. I started a comedy group called Stuffed Pickles, and it's me and 3 other comedians from the Oregon area. And we went touring, and this lady showed up to one of our tour dates and loved us and offered us this deal, and then talked about filming a special, which is something we're going to be trying to do in Oregon later this year. She just started this media group up, and she found out my story about my rare condition and all the different things, all the different stuff that I've gone through, but still kept a positive attitude and wanted to tell my story. And so the weirdest part was having to go through she found so much old footage and pictures and podcasts I'd done that it was weird hearing my story and ways that I'd never heard it before, but I told it so many times. It was really cool, and it really it set in the stone just how far I've come over 6 years.
Oh yeah, well it just validates everything you've been doing, man. That's great. It's
awesome, and I be here now. That's a slogan that I really kind of adopted in my life when I first got sick.
Well, see, that's what I was going to ask you, because I'm a big follower of teacher Baba Ram Dass, and of course that's
right.
The name of his book. Are you connected with the teachings of Baba Ram Dass?
Okay, so Yes and no. So the way that I got into Be Here Now is when I first got sick, I had to stop doing professional wrestling, which is in the documentary, and I had to stop doing acting. And so the two things that I love doing, my passion, were taken away from me. So for a good half a year, I was just sitting at home feeling sorry for myself. And I got really into this television show. I love ancient Rome. It's one of my favorite topics in the world. And there was this TV show about Spartacus that came out. And I binge watched it, and the actor that played Spartacus changed from season 1 to season 2. And I looked it up, and I found out that he died from leukemia.
Wow.
And they put a documentary out about him called Be Here Now, the Andy Whitfield story.
Okay.
And I was watching this, and he found out about his diagnosis the day after they finished filming season 1, and he was about to blow up and become a star. And he has a wife and 3 young children, and he'd been working towards this his entire life. And then he basically got handed the death card. And instead of being sad, instead of moping like I was at home, he just said, you know what? Hey, if I only have a week left, then I'm going to take advantage of this. And I'm not going to focus on day 7 right now on day 1. I'm just going to make day 1 the best day it can be.
Amen.
I'm just going to be here now in the moment and live my life with positivity, because positive thinking brings positive results.
And you know, Dustin, in these days that we're living right now with this lockdown, it's really teaching people what's more important, man. And it's making people be here now and really appreciate the now, you know?
It really is. And that's one of my favorite things about it, is seeing how when in times of crisis, the United States, I feel like, really the world has kind of feel like in the last 5 years been in a really cynical place.
Yeah.
When something happens, we don't focus on necessarily how to fix it, how it got caused in the first place, or if something good happens, we always find the negative in that too. So like a perfect example is like, you ever have that friend that when you watch a movie that everybody loves, they're the one person that's like, I hated it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why? And then it's for some weird reason of like, you know, they use the Doobie Brothers music in it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not a reason to hate a movie. So like,
hey, the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
Are awesome.
Or I didn't like the font the credits were written in. And it's like, oh, okay, but now you just sound like you're wanting to talk about something negative. And I didn't realize that how much of my life was dictated by my own thoughts, and how powerful the mind is, and how powerful your attitude towards things can affect your life. And so that watching that documentary, it's an hour and 45 minutes. My life changed in an hour and 45 minutes,
wow,
which to me,
that's great,
is the beautiful thing about life.
Now, Dustin, have you ever read the book Be Here Now?
So I own it. I'm reading it. It is a dense read. So I'm having issues. A big reason being a stand-up comedian is I kind of have my brain goes off in 40 different directions.
Yeah.
So right now I'm getting through it. I was told right away when I started bringing up Be Here Now, and I always tag any post that I post on social media or talking to people with Be Here Now. A lot of people pointed out this book to me, so I've been reading it. And what's great is it seems like this may have been what inspired Andy Whitfield, who inspired me, was this guy's book. And so, I mean, the teachings seem amazing and exactly down my alley.
Yeah, it's great that you have a copy. I have a friend who is actually listening right now in another state, and she was reading it, and I had asked her quite a while ago what she thought about the book in a nutshell, and she said that, quote unquote, that the book was like organic food, and I thought that summed it up perfectly.
Well, I mean, you've seen me.
Well, what's that guy? Come on now. Dustin's
organic food's not really my thing.
Dustin's he's making fun of the shape of his body.
Yeah, I will say that it blows my mind that there's so many, like I had such a helpless mentality when I was sick and staying at home. Just such a woe is me, and this entitled, like I look back at that person and I'm like, who was that? Like, I don't recognize that person as me. That's not me. And it's crazy to me that there's, you know, documentaries or this book out there, that we live in a world now that, like, right now I'm talking to you on a phone, and the phone aspect of this is the like least impressive part of my phone. I can look up any book, any movie, any song that I want. Literally, you could change your life right now by finding the thing that sparks that inspiration in your head.
That's right.
And it blows my mind how many people don't even look for it.
Yeah, like one little thing could be like your spiritual turning point, and it doesn't even have to be anything religious or spiritual per se.
Yeah, mine wasn't at all. Mine was a documentary about a guy with cancer.
Exactly.
And this guy, he not only did he change like his outlook on life, but his wife, who was told, hey, guess what? In 6 months, you're not going to have your soulmate anymore. You're going to have to raise 3 kids on your own. And also, he's been the breadwinner, so now you got to take over for that. And most people would crumble under that pressure, or would instantly kind of be like, well, that's not going to happen, or be in denial. And she instantly clicked into a be here now mentality. Her name's Vashi Whitfield, Vashi. And she's now a inspirational speaker. She does a lot of like creative outlet speeches and stuff like that. I've gotten to speak to her, which was one of the coolest thrills of my life, to be like, you know, your husband saved my life, basically.
Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful.
And so it's just like, my big thing is, I feel like and it sounds like culty or religiously in a weird way, but I feel like I've got this secret that unlocks potential, and I want to tell people about it, but you can't just be like, hey, sit down, let me tell you about this mentality type thing, because then it just comes off like, have you heard the good news about Jesus Christ? And it just comes off very like,
it's
join me.
I was when I first got into the spiritual path, one of my teachers told me, he said, you know, the spiritual path is a very individual path. It's not a group trip at all. And at first I didn't really know what he meant, because I thought, well, if we're all connected and we're trying to get closer together, why isn't it a group trip? But then the more I got into a spiritual trip, the more I realized he was right. It really is a very solitary path, but you can't help but want to share the joy with others. So just do it in your way, brother. Share it through comedy, you know?
You know, and that's what I'm trying to do. Is I get a lot of people that come up after the shows and are like, because I talk about dark stuff on stage.
Life is dark, man. It can be dark.
Well, exactly. And it's like, it's therapeutic for me, but also like, I want to show people that like, I'm going through what most people, it'd probably be the darkest, you know, aspects of their life. I'm going through that, and I'm not seeing it that way. And it says in the documentary, and it's something that I try to push to people when they're having tough times, and or a family member dies, or they're sick, or they're low on money or whatever, and they just feel like the world's against them. I try to tell them that, look, right now it's dark, but you have to go through the dark to appreciate the light. If you don't have the dark, how are you going to ever recognize when things get better? And you got to realize they're going to get better, and tell yourself that. And it's just, you're so right about the solitary thing, though. It's like, now I've realized, like, I tell people my story so that I can tell them, keep your eyes open for your thing that's going to click in your brain.
That's great.
That's going to enlighten you and make you better. You know, I'm living my best life the last 6 years.
That's great, man.
And I have so many people to thank for it. And I really appreciate you putting the documentary out, man. Like,
yeah. You know, also, I know that in these times of kind of staying self-contained, you probably don't have any live events coming up, but what is coming up in the future as we wrap up our talk? I would like to ask you, what's coming up? Anyone, can they catch you on the internet, or any way people can connect with you?
Yeah. So right now you can follow me on Instagram at Adorkable Dustin Wood. And, you can also follow my comedy group, Stuffed Pickles, at Stuffed Pickles Entertainment on Instagram. Just before this quarantine thing happened, we had a week of shows in the Oregon area, and our last 3 shows got canceled. So we're basically paid to just hang out with each other, which was pretty cool. And we got a camera and we filmed some sketches. So right now they're in Portland in the process of being edited. So we're still going to be putting content out even if we can't perform live.
That's beautiful. Yeah, keep it going, man. Definitely. And keep me posted on the Eartheart page of what's going on with you, man.
I will, man. I really appreciate everything you've done, man.
For sure. My friends, you are listening to a chat with comedian Dustin Wood, located in Weed, California. His new documentary is called Be Here Now. I'm sure you can find that on YouTube. Dustin, thanks for making the time to be on the show today, and much love, my brother.
Yeah, same here, man. Take care.
Okay, take care, Dustin.
Bye.
Lots of fun, man. I like talking to people, and I like talking to comedians. So, yeah, I love his perspective. It's super positive and good. It's like he's overflowing with it. I love it, man. The great Saint Ramakrishna said, we pretty much are who we hang out with, man. So if you hang out with guys like that, how do you think you're going to feel at the end of the day, huh? Pretty darn good. You are at the Eartheart Radio Show, and of course, KSKQ Radio. Shankara, a.k.a. Derek Moody at the helm. And I'd like to thank all my listeners that are tuning in from different parts of the United States today. Thank you to Doug Shields in Pekin, Illinois. Sister Tracy and Little Jet Dog are tuned in over in South Ashland. Also, Brenda Rosh. Her last name rhymes with squash. Brenda Rosh. I've got it right this time, I think. She's listening from Medford. Yeah. Can barely read my own handwriting. Isn't that bad? Yeah, it is. Thanks to Bob and Lynn who are tuned in as well. And Christopher just let me know he's listening as well, man. I appreciate it. All of you guys. Philosophy Talk Radio will be following this here show today. I wouldn't like to say that KSKQ does recognize the nonprofit community support of the Klamath-Siskiyou Wildland Center. As a voice for wild nature, KS Wild's mission is focused on protecting public lands in the Klamath-Siskiyou region of Southwest Oregon and Northwest California. Community support for KS Wild helps ensure a legacy of wild rivers, ancient forests, and biodiversity. Learn more about KS Wild's wildlife and forest conservation programs and efforts to restore public lands at www.kswild.org. KSKQ thanks KS Wild and listeners like you for supporting community radio. And speaking of Sister Tracy, who is listening, you can catch her tonight when she co-hosts and co-produces the almighty Church of Rock radio show, which happens tonight at 7 p.m. right here at KSKQ.
Saints, angels, avatars, sages, yogis, holy men, medicine women, helpers, elders, revolutionaries, and advocates of love. Today we honor and show love, respect, and gratitude.
That's right. Every single week, I like to spotlight a different high-frequency soul residing in a human body, and today is no exception. Today we're talking about a saint that is not that well known in the Western world. He was a man named Sombari Baba. A big reason for this is that he passed away back in 1919, and at that time, there were very few Westerners who ever had the opportunity to meet him. The word Sombari means Monday, and Sombari Baba got his name because he always gave food to those who visited on Mondays. No one knows for sure when he was born, but many claim that he was born sometime between 1815 and 1825 in a small town in India called Pindadanakan. He lived a selfless life and had very few possessions, including a small cloth bag, a tiger skin, and a chillum pipe. He radiated an enormous peacefulness and kindness. He requested nothing from anyone else. He never preached. He never wrote books. Instead, his way of living was an expression of the highest spiritual doctrine. Whether hot outside or freezing cold, Nevertheless, Sombari Baba wore nothing but a small piece of cloth and even refused to let the devotees build a simple shelter to protect him from rain and snow. People who were with him explain how all their problems disappeared while in his presence. He always radiated happiness and love, and he never showed anger. All negative feelings and thoughts vanished when in the presence of Sombari Baba. People were replaced. They replaced anger with a sense of divinity. This feeling could be felt within them for a long time after they left him, according to the various books written about Sombari Baba. If someone approached him with a problem, they did not have to say anything. The answer usually came before the question was even asked. Sombari Baba loved everyone unconditionally, and he helped those who asked. Anyone who came to him with an open heart was given help or found him to be of service. Sombari Baba was always kind if anyone would visit him without receiving any prior information about this. He would also know they were coming. On several occasions, he prepared food for visitors, and just as he predicted, they showed up. Another miracle he performed was that there was always enough food no matter how many people would visit him. Sombari Baba always ate last of all. Those who visited Sombari Baba explained how they felt divine protection while they went on the dangerous road to the ashram where he lived. At that time, India was much more dangerous than today. Tigers attacked people. But everyone who visited Sombari Baba was always unharmed while traveling to and from the ashram. Other saints showed great respect for Sombari Baba, and he is regarded as one of the highest and purest saints who ever lived in the area of India. You are listening to the Eartheart radio show. Thank you for being here today. Nick Cave and Friends with Death is Not the End. And I have a couple of quotes here by the great Buddha. Here's a quote from Buddha. Thousands of candles can be lighted from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared.
Please let go of your fear. Positive news is here. Things aren't as bad as it seems, no matter what they say. News with an agenda is meant to instill fear. True news can instill hope.
Well, before I get started with positive news, I did say that I would share a list this week of positives from the lockdown and the stay-at-home quarantine. Lots of things have been coming to my head. Lots of things happening, like reading books again. Wow, I'm reading more than I was. Also, spending way more time in nature by myself or with my dog. That's a great thing. It's a great time for spiritual progression and spiritual work, whatever that might mean for you. It's an actual time to spend more time talking with people on the phone or FaceTime and getting to know friends and relatives you haven't spoken with in a while. It's a great time to write lyrics if you're a writer. It's a great time to write a book if you're a writer. You have time to do that now. It's a great time to clean the house and get things caught up, right? It's a good time to drag out a couple of those cookbooks and learn to cook some new recipes. These are things I've been doing. There's so many things. The air and the water is cleaner now, they have been saying, because people are locked up. There are lots of positives to having to be in the house for now. It's also stopped and made people meditate more. How about, was it yesterday or the day before? Or there was a 20-minute meditation session nationwide, and we took part in that. And that was yesterday. And boy, was that beautiful. For 20 minutes, a lot of people I know that do not meditate were meditating for world peace yesterday. I think it's beautiful. It's given me time to realize the things that are most important in not only my life, but our lives as a collective. And it's opened lots of our eyes as to what isn't important. We basically need three things, man: food, love, and shelter. And lots of folks seem to go without proper shelter or probably love. But we really do exist physically with just the food. But when that's gone, yeah, food, love, shelter. If you have extra, if you can be of service to your fellow man, your cosmic brothers and sisters might need a few bucks. They might need advice. They might need a place for shelter. Try to help out your fellow man in any way you can. Positive news story number 1. Sesame Street is bringing cheers to children affected by conflict in the Middle East. A new version of the popular television show has been launched in the Middle East to help children affected by war. For more than half a century, Big Bird, Elmo, and friends have playfully educated young children turning into Sesame Street. And now a local version of the show has launched in the Middle East to provide early learning to children affected by crisis and displacement in Syria, Iraq, Jordan, and Lebanon. Named Alan Simsim, which means Welcome Sesame in Arabic, the new show was designed with local producers, creatives, and nearly early childhood experts, and does feature 2 new characters, Jod and Basma. Sherry Weston, president of social impact and philanthropy at Sesame Workshops, had this to say, quote, Alan Simsim's premiere season will help millions of children across the region learn how to identify and manage big feelings, skills that form a crucial development foundation for young children, especially those who have experienced the trauma of war and displacement. The show made its debut on February 2nd and is broadcast every day across the region. It is part of a wider humanitarian program in partnership with the International Rescue Committee that will also include direct education services across Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon, and Syria. Positive news number 2. 9 things that I've compiled on this list of positive ways to connect with nature without leaving your home. Yeah, spring has arrived, my friends. And these are family-friendly nature activity suggestions. You can make a bird feeder, perhaps out of a coconut shell or something from home. Any on-hand ingredients, hang it from a spot where you can watch birds tuck in without disturbing them. You can set up a mini nature reserve. A small box, rock, log, or some compost are all you need to create a mini nature reserve. Put it somewhere like an old bench or near a wall and wait to see who moves in. Plants will hopefully take root and creatures will set up home there. You can clean out your bird feeders, be of service to your fellow feathered visitors and to your garden by cleaning your bird feathers regularly, or your bird feeders, not feathers. Number 4, you can make a nectar box. No matter how big your space is, you can pack a window box with insect-friendly plants. Lavender, agrimony, and rosemary are great examples. You can create a mini pond. An old bucket or other watertight container is the basis of this no-nonsense tip. Line the bottom with sand, add some rocks and native pond weed, and fill with rainwater. Make your own compost. Yeah, there's lots of things you can use to make your own compost. Find a shady spot where it will stay moist. Try yoga or wildlife-themed yoga, such as the starfish or the one-legged heron. Also, you can help birds avoid flying into glass windows by cutting out swooping bird shapes of cardboard that you can hang in front of the windows to keep the birdies from flying into the glass. Also, you can grow vegetables for wildlife. It's frustrating when gardeners have their produce is nibbled on, by the deer and the rabbits and squirrels. So why not just learn to share, right? Large white and small butterflies love cabbage and cauliflower and broccoli. Thrushes, they love pears and apples, and other insects really dig carrot flowers and other goodies. Do I have time for more? I don't know. Positive news number 3. Mystery Mom has been leaving out free bagged lunches made with love for anyone who needs them. An anonymous Maryland mother is being hailed for leaving out hundreds of bagged lunches for her community during the novel coronavirus shutdowns. The unidentified do-gooder has been leaving the healthy meals on a tent-sheltered table with a sign that says, "For anyone who needs it, I will be leaving some healthy snacks and sack lunches on this table for you if you are hungry and need to eat. This is made with love by a neighborhood mom in a clean and sanitized kitchen." The table has reportedly been stocked with free lunches between 11 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. every day for a number of weeks. Things like this lift our collective spirits. It's great to see so many of our communities doing so much to care for others during these times. I'm Derek Moody, thanking you very much for tuning into the Eartheart Radio Show today. Philosophy Radio is coming up next. I'll be back on the air this evening at 7 p.m. with Sister Tracy as we bring a whole different radio show called The Church of Rock, in which we play punk rock to doo-wop. And tonight we will interview Dave Glover from legendary band The Veins. And Dave has had music in films with actresses like Jennifer Aniston. Yeah, tonight on Church of Rock Radio Show at 7 p.m. Again, thanks for being here. I've got a couple of quotes by the great Ram Dass before I go. The spiritual journey is individual, highly personal. It can't be organized or regulated. It isn't true that everyone should follow one path. Listen to your own inner truth. Also, another quote by Ram Dass, your problem is you're busy holding on to your own unworthiness. But we all are just walking each other home.
You've been listening to Eartheart Radio with your host, Shankara Das. Eartheart Radio is produced by Shankara Das in association with Sister Tracy and Krishna Consciousness. Please tune in every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for more Eartheart Radio.